be honest, 2021 has really been a tough year for all of us, but there are some good news and some good moments. Before we close out the year, we want to shine a light on some positive things that are being done. We have an important advancement in cancer, several important advancements in cancer. I spoke with a medical expert about how these new innovations and breakthroughs will progress treatment in 2022. Here to discuss the top accomplishments in cancer research in 2021 is Dr. David Spigel, Chief Scientific Officer at the Sarah Cannon Research Institute. Dr. Spigel, I'm actually going to go through a couple of lists of accomplishments that have happened in cancer research. And if you don't mind, can you actually explain why this has had a huge impact and how it will shape cancer treatment in the next year?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Awesome. So we're going to start here. First, we have advances in early cancer detection.
Yeah, so this is a big space right now. We're all very familiar with the concept of screening for cancer. So if you think about mammography to find breast cancer or colonoscopy to find colon cancer, and now we even do CT scanning to find lung cancer, these are approaches to find cancer early. And if you can find cancer early, you can do more to try to cure somebody, whether that's surgery or radiation or sometimes even therapies that go through their bodies like chemotherapies. So blood cancer detection is quite new, and the idea is a little different. It's still trying to find cancer early, but not limiting it to, say, one kind of cancer.
Next, we want to talk about advances in deciphering cancer genetics to help in treatment planning.
Yeah, so this is somewhat of the same idea in that, we use scans, we use blood tests to kind of guide our treatment. How is somebody doing with a certain therapy, say to fight lung cancer? But now we have the ability to use the blood to look for what are called genetic abnormalities. And so this isn't quite ready for prime time. We are using blood testing to say, well, it's this type of cancer and it should be treated this way. In some settings, like as I mentioned, lung cancer. But now the next kind of frontier is, can we monitor patients? Can we say, kind of like with HIV and hepatitis C care these days, can you start a treatment and then see that go away in the case of the virus going down low in the bloodstream? In this case, disappearance of, say, a genetic marker of cancer, to know that you're on the right course. And then if you start to see reemergence of that genetic abnormality, you might say, well, this is an opportunity to make a change in care way before you'd ever see that in the clinic or on a CT scan, for example.
Here's another one we want to talk about, approvals and new targeted therapies.
Yeah, so this is like a broken record almost every year now. We have multiple new therapies approved in both the targeted and non-targeted space. I'll just explain that kind of simply. These are drugs or therapies that the FDA approves that go after a very kind of narrow type of cancer. So like this last year, for example, this past June, we had a pill approved to fight a subset of lung cancer with a specific mutation. It's called KRAS G12C. But it's a good example of how narrow things are getting because the science is getting so good. You can identify a switch that's driving a cancer, develop a therapy, in this case a pill, to turn that switch off, and then in this example the FDA approves that so that we can give it to patients in the clinic.
What about advances in immunotherapies?
Yeah, so this has been a big story now since really 2015 when the first agents were coming on the market. So there's multiple cancer settings now where we're using therapies designed to boost your immune system to fight cancer. And so every year we're seeing more and more of this kind of working its way into different kinds of cancer. So I think now it's over 70 different types of cancer settings where we use immunotherapies as part of that treatment.
And lastly, we want to talk about the advances in therapies designed to specifically target a tumor.
Yeah, well, we mentioned some of these. For example, the approval this past spring of a pill that goes after a different kind of rare type of lung cancer. But there's many of these things, many of these drugs being developed that kind of specifically get to the tumor and activate the immune system at that level, or specifically get to a tumor and deliver what we call a payload or a small toxin to hopefully just kill that cancer cell and leave normal cells alone. A lot of work happening to develop these new drugs. So a really exciting time.
And finally, this is just a question that I had, but what about this new BioNTech mRNA cancer vaccine that I understand has kind of started its phase 2 of its trials?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a big story in fighting the pandemic with COVID infection. But the idea is somewhat the same. Can you develop a vaccine to teach your body to target, in this example, cancer? So a lot of work that was happening before the pandemic has been accelerated because of some of the advances with fighting the pandemic are now coming back to helping us fight cancer. So really exciting time.
And HIV as well. Dr. David Spigel, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.